We've spent years deifying Eren Yeager as the ultimate mastermind, a tragic hero weaving time itself to secure a future for his people. But let's be real, Eren didn't write the script, he was a slave to it. While Eren was sobbing in a desert of sand, Kenjaku was busy body-hopping through a millennium of blood and betrayal. One is a teenager with a god complex and a predetermined fate. The other is a cold-blooded architect of evolution. Eren Yeager is the face of modern manipulation, but Kenjaku is the brain that actually makes it work. My take? We need to stop confusing having a cheat code with being a genius. Eren's entire plan relied on the Attack Titan's ability to see the future, a literal spoilers-enabled playthrough of life. Kenjaku, on the other hand, had to earn every single inch of his 1,000-year plan through trial, error, and horrific biological engineering. If Eren is a tragic puppet of destiny, Kenjaku is the guy who built the theater, wrote the play, and then decided to set the stage on fire just to see what the smoke looked like. We're talking about a man who didn't just influence history, he manually cultivated it. He didn't just wait for the right moment, he birthed the right moment. Literally. This isn't just a comparison of power, it's a comparison of methodology. And in the world of high-stakes manipulation, Kenjaku makes Eren look like an amateur. Let's look at the timeline. Eren had, 4 years? From the moment he touched Historia's hand to the rumbling, he was rushing, he was desperate, he was operating under a ticking clock. Kenjaku played the longest game in anime history. For 1,000 years, he hopped from body to body, taking over the lives of sorcerers, commoners, and monsters alike. He didn't just survive, he infiltrated the very foundations of the Jujutsu world. Here's the kicker. Kenjaku lived as Noritoshi Kamo, the most hated sorcerer in history, just to experiment with the death-painting wombs. He lived as Kaori Itadori, the mother of the series' protagonist, just to engineer a perfect vessel for Sukuna. Think about the level of dedication that requires. He didn't just find a vessel, he manufactured one biologically. While Eren was manipulating his father through memory loops, which, let's be honest, is a bit of a temporal paradox headache, Kenjaku was manually stitching together the bloodlines of the modern era. He played the genetic lottery and made sure he held every single winning ticket. We need to talk about motivation. Eren's manipulation was driven by a claustrophobic sense of duty and a frantic need for freedom. It was emotional. It was messy. The rumbling was essentially a global-scale temper tantrum because Eren couldn't find a better way out. It's peak fiction, sure, but is it peak manipulation? Not really. It's brute force wrapped in a woe-is-me package. Kenjaku is different. He isn't driven by hate or love or even a desire for power. He's driven by pure, unadulterated curiosity. He wants to see the next stage of human evolution, even if that means merging the entire population of Japan into a giant curse monster. There's something far more terrifying about a villain who ruins your life not because he hates you, but because he thinks your suffering might produce an interesting result. His execution of the Culling Game is a masterpiece of logistics. He created a legalistic, binding vow-driven battle royale that effectively turned the entire country into a laboratory. He didn't need a god power like the founding titan to force people to move. He used the systems of the world against themselves. He used the greed, the fear, and the ancient contracts of sorcerers to build his engine of chaos. That's real manipulation. In any great plan, there's always a wild card. For Eren, it was the hope that his friends would live long lives. For Kenjaku, it was the king of curses himself, Ryomen Sukuna. Most villains would try to control Sukuna or seal him away. Kenjaku? He made Sukuna his business partner. He didn't try to leash the beast. He built a cage and then convinced the beast that it was actually the one in charge. He turned Sukuna into a contingency plan. By facilitating the return of the strongest sorcerer in history, Kenjaku ensured that even if he personally failed, the world would still be pushed toward the chaos he desired. He turned his greatest threat into his greatest asset. Eren, meanwhile, spent half the finale wondering if his friends would even survive the mess he started. Kenjaku doesn't wonder. He accounts for the variables. Now I know what the Eren stans are going to say. Eren manipulated the past. He's the reason his own mother died. He controlled everything. Let's be real for a second. If you're a slave to a future you've already seen, are you really manipulating anything? Eren's manipulation was just him fulfilling a pre-recorded destiny. He was a cog in a machine that he didn't build. He saw the end, and he walked toward it because he felt he had no choice. Kenjaku, however, faced the Six Eyes and the Limitless users for centuries. He failed, he was killed, he was stopped over and over again, but he didn't give up. He didn't have a vision of the future telling him he'd eventually win. He just had the sheer ironclad will to keep trying until he found the one opening in history where he could seal Gojo Satoru. One man followed a script, the other man fought the world until the world finally broke. That's the difference between a character who is destined to be great and a character who forces greatness upon themselves. This boils down to a fundamental clash of philosophies: freedom versus evolution. Eren wanted to reset the world to zero. He wanted to wipe the slate clean so his people could have a choice. It's a very human, very flawed desire. It's the philosophy of a boy who wants to run away from the walls. Kenjaku's philosophy is much more big brain. He doesn't want to go back to zero, he wants to see what happens at 100. He views humanity as a stagnant pool and himself as the person who needs to throw a grenade into it to make the water move. He is the ultimate catalyst. While Eren represents the tragedy of being trapped by the past, Kenjaku represents the horror of a future that has no moral compass. He is the architect of a world where meaning is secondary to possibility. And in the context of a story, a character who creates possibilities is always more dangerous than a character who merely closes doors. Eren Yeager died as a martyr for a doomed cycle of violence, a kid who got crushed by the weight of a god's power. Kenjaku died, if he's even truly gone, as a scientist who finally got to see his experiment reach its climax. You can love Eren for his tragedy, you can cry for his lost freedom, but if we're talking about who actually ran the show, who actually understood the mechanics of the world and bent them to their will without the help of a destiny cheat code, it's not even close. Eren Yeager was a tragedy, Kenjaku was a triumph of the will. One played the part he was given, the other wrote the part and cast himself as the lead. Kenjaku isn't just a better manipulator, he's the guy Eren wishes he had the stomach to be.